Republican leaders in the House of Representatives just introduced a slew of bills in support of Israel and targeting Iran after this weekend's attack. They're also criticizing President Biden, accusing him of, quote, refusing to have our allies back, close quote. I'm joined now by CNN Global Affairs analyst Mark Esper. He served as the defense secretary under former President Trump. He also serves on the board or as a strategic advisor for a handful of aerospace and defense-related companies. Secretary Esper, thanks so much for joining us. As you know, conservative Republicans have warned Speaker Johnson over including funding for Ukraine in any aid bill that includes funding for Israel. Does that stance by hardliners put aid to both countries potentially at risk?
Yes, Wolf, I think it does. I think I saw a statement coming out of the White House this afternoon that said they would not accept a standalone bill coming out of the House just for Israel. And they shouldn't, by the way. Both Israel and Ukraine face the same, both Israel and Ukraine face the same threat. They have a very aggressive neighbor who is attacking this democracy. These respective democracies, and they need U.S. support, and U.S. leadership is on the line. So I think we should support the funding. It should move quickly, and I hope the House will pass a bill, and they shouldn't go on recess at the end of this week without passing the Ukraine supplemental.
We'll see how that unfolds. President Biden has urged Israel not to retaliate and says the U.S. will not take part in any counterstrikes against Iran. Is Israel in danger, you think, Mr. Secretary, of further straining its relationship with the United States and possibly expanding its global isolation if it were to launch a military strike on Iran now?
Well, first of all, I think President Biden is mistaken on both points. Look, first of all, urging Israel to act with restraint at this point in time doesn't make any sense given the neighborhood that they live in. A week and a half ago, Israel said very clearly to Iran, don't strike. If you do strike Israel proper, there will be a response. They have to follow through on that now. By the same token, President Biden told the Iranians don't as well. To me, that looks like a red line. And so for Israel not to act now, that would undermine their credibility. Plus, I might add, look, for 20 plus years, Israel faced a constant threat from rockets from Hamas in the south and rockets from Hezbollah in the north every year. And some years, well over 1,000 rockets attacked, and this led to Israel going into either to fight. Now, Iran has changed the paradigm, and they've acknowledged it. They said it publicly. They've created a new normal that they're no longer afraid to strike Israel. So now does Israel have to deal not just with a southern front and a northern front, but an eastern front? I think they need to hit back hard. And look, the other thing that I think President Biden has made a mistake on is taking the military option off the table. He did this with Ukraine. I think it was a mistake. He did this with Gaza. It was a mistake. And once again, he's taking U.S. military options off the table before anything's happened. Now, look, I think in many of those circumstances, we probably weren't and probably shouldn't have done anything. But just to take it off the table, I think undermines U.S. credibility as well in the region.
This is interesting. A top advisor to the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps tells Iranian state news now that Tehran will not show restraint if red lines are crossed. How could this impact Israel's calculations, you think?
Well, we know that to be the case. We know there's going to be a little bit of a tit for tat back and forth until one or the side or the other reaches the breaking point. And I will suspect it will be the Iranians before the Israelis. Iran does not want this war. They can't afford this war economically. And of course, they have a public that is very unhappy with the regime. They can't tolerate too much here. But on the other hand, Israel cannot allow this to stand, or else they will face a new threat, a new invigorated, emboldened Iran that will feel that it can shoot missiles and rockets and drones and cruise missiles anytime it wants, or anytime it seems to be losing the proxy war to Israel. They'll shoot rockets and missiles at Israel. That's a new normal that Israel cannot tolerate, which is why I think they need to hit back fairly hard and show that they are serious and restore deterrence with Iran.
Former Defense Secretary Mark Esper, thanks so much for joining us. We appreciate it.